For the last 15 years, if you wanted to make $1 million, the best way to do it was not by investing in Bitcoin. No, it was by being an App Store developer. Yes, App Store developers have earned $320 billion to date. I mean, App Stores are a great opportunity for developers to create productivity tools, games, social networks, anything that provides value to the users of that platform in exchange for a little bit of money. App stores are great for creating millionaires, even billionaires in some cases. And that's why everyone seems so thrilled by the fact that OpenAI's ChatGPT now has its own plugin store. I mean, if you go to Twitter, you have people saying this update is like the new App Store of AI. This could be a game changer as big as the App Store. Imagine discovering the Apple App Store when it only had 74 apps. You know, even on the news side, did OpenAI just have its App Store moment? ChatGPT gets eyes and ears with plugins that can interface AI with the world. ChatGPT plugins, the next App Store or Clubhouse? Man, why are you throwing shade on Clubhouse? They didn't deserve that. I mean, it was fun while it lasted. Don't be hating like that. But in all seriousness, it's a great question. You know, like what is going to become of the ChatGPT plugin store? Is this a prime moment to create a business that tailors to this AI tool? Or is it a little bit far-fetched? Now in this video, I want to get into breaking down the differences between, you know, a ChatGPT app store versus the Apple App Store. And I also want to talk a bit about some of the opportunities that are present, because clearly with over 100 million ChatGPT users, certainly there's a reason to want to show up on the OpenAI's ChatGPT plugin store. For a little bit more background, you know, if you go over to ChatGPT, currently the plugin store is only available to ChatGPT Plus users. So you do have to be paying $20 a month in order to access this plugin store. And once you go over to the plugin store, you'll notice that it's not that easy to search for plugins. You know, you can't click into them, you can't find out exactly what they do. You know, it's really just a sentence, but it's simple to use. You know, you can just press install and then, you know, bada boom, it's installed. I can come over here and I can enable it and I can, you know, ask Zumper what it's going to do to help me. Now, if you have been using this plugin store and you do find that, hey, it's kind of difficult to navigate in here and know what's in here and to know, hey, what are the reviews on these things? You know, there's no reviews. You'll notice that there's no customer feedback. There's no way to easily find exactly, you know, a good tool or a good plugin to use. If you feel that the ChatGPT plugin store is a little bit daunting right now, then hit the link down in the description. It's going to take you to a page called everydays.wtf. And on that page, I'm going to be breaking down every single one of these plugins as fast as I can. A lot of them coming out every single day. I mean, it's at least 10 to 12 a day as it currently stands, but I only see it ramping up faster. But I'll be giving, you know, my honest take of the review of it, you know, a 1 through 100 score, some of its benefits, maybe some of its drawbacks, and just making it easier for you to find a plugin that might actually help you use AI even better than you are right now. So with that being said, you know, hit the link down in the description. Go over to everydays.wtf. You're going to find a lot of value. Just the condensed version of the reviews of these plugins. So as I said, everyone seems to be thinking that this is the App Store moment. This is 2008. The iPhone has just recently dropped the past year. Now the App Store is available. You can start developing apps. And, you know, if we're looking at the App Store, you know, it's last year it gave developers $60 billion. The year before as well, $45 billion in 2020, $38 billion in 2019. The App Store has made a ton of people millions and even billions of dollars. You know, businesses like Tinder have exploded because of that. You know, games, you know, PUBG Mobile, and you have so many different industries that have been able to reach their customers through this app store. And with OpenAI's ChatGPT, it kind of feels the same way. Like, hey, I've been using this AI, but maybe there's more to it. And, you know, when you go over there, you'll notice that there are brands that are showing up here already. You know, you have Zillow, Instacart has a plugin, Expedia has a plugin. Beyond the brands, you have independent developers creating things like games. You know, this is like a 20 questions game, these crafty clues. Playlist AI is going to make a Spotify playlist for you almost just off of a single prompt. And so, we're already starting to see a lot of this variety, from productivity to even shopping plugins, and of course, as I said, some games as well. So is it something that you should be getting into? Is this the next app store? Now, my personal take, I don't think that it's the next Apple App Store. And the reason I don't see the ChatGPT plugin store as the next Apple App Store is because the App Store was creating a symbiotic relationship between hardware and software, right? The App Store was meant to help make the actual device, the iPhone, more useful. Whereas this is a similar thing, but it's a software product. It's small software making a big piece of software even better. And so I think that the better comparison is not to the Apple App Store, but actually to the Chrome Web Store. Google Chrome's App Store, which provide extensions, right? And so if you use Chrome, you're probably familiar with this, the Chrome Web Store and its extensions. You can come through, and I'm sure you had Honey installed at one point, which, just finds coupons for you. Zoom's got their own little extension as well, Todoist. The Chrome Web Store hasn't directly created millionaires. You're not charging for apps, or you're not charging for extensions in the Chrome Web Store. Rather, you are providing a piece of value, and sometimes you can figure out ways to make money outside of the web store. So for instance, as I said, Honey became, a $4 billion company by selling to PayPal. So there was a free extension, but they got so many users using this that PayPal found a reason to acquire Honey and own it for themselves. And most likely it was a data play. Grammarly, another one of the most famous Chrome extensions to be a success, is valued at around $13 billion from raising $200 million. But even for Grammarly, they had to start off with a bunch of free users and then figure out a way to provide a pro service, right? An upgraded service that cost a little bit of money. Beyond those two examples, yes, there are some Chrome extension indie developers that have made some decent money. Gmass is a browser extension that basically just helps you automate sending emails through Gmail, and they make about $130K a month. Number two, the Closet Tools helps users automate posting to the reselling marketplace Poshmark, and it's charging people $30 a month, so it's making $42,000 a month. 100K a month, 10K per month for full page screen capture. The list goes on, but the difference here is that payment within the Chrome Web Store is not always one-to-one, right? Within the App Store, you might have to pay $5 just to download an app. The Chrome Web Store, it's typically always free to download, and then there's an upgraded service. And so the point I'm getting at is that, the Chrome Web Store is more of like a comparable to what the ChatGPT plugin store is looking like to me. Once again, if you are a user of the ChatGPT plugin store and you do find it very difficult to navigate this and find the plugin that you're looking for, right now there's 128 plugins, but it's only going to get more and more dense. Pretty soon there's going to be 500, maybe even 1,000. I would say within the next month I can see that happening. If you think it's hard to navigate now, it's only going to get harder from here. I think just the simple idea of having somebody review these plugins is needed. If you're finding it hard to navigate the plugin store and you need an easier way to find plugins that might be useful, click the link down in the description. I'm curating the best and the worst plugins. I'm giving them all a ranking. I'm using them all. I'm testing them just to see which ones work, which ones don't, because believe me, a lot of these do not work, and they're kind of a waste of time and also a waste of credits. ChatGPT Plus, you only get 25 credits every 3 hours. My one tip is don't download a game. Don't download Tic-Tac-Toe, because you're going to run out of your credits after like 1 or 2 games, because every single time you're placing a Tic-Tac-Toe, that's counting as a credit. So what are you going to do? Spend 20 out of your 25 credits playing a 10-minute game of tic-tac-toe? No. See, it's a bad idea. So a little game like that is going to be in that link in the description over at everydaysw.wtf. I'm going to be breaking down the best, the worst, the most valuable, the most useful, and even some of the fun plugins. So hit the link down in the description. You will be happy you did so. Anyways, I want to close it out on one last thing as far as the plugin store goes. Obviously this is only a couple weeks old. We've just started to get the plugin store. They're going to make it better. They're going to make a search function. They're going to curate things. Eventually this plugin store is going to get more comprehensive. So where do I see a lot of the value coming from? On one end, you do have the extensions, the actual productivity tools, and it's going to probably look similar to what the Chrome Web Store is, but beyond that, within the Chrome Web Store, you also have themes, which are kind of fun, artistic interfaces where you can change your Google Chrome interface. And so, I think that there's also going to be a theme type of component to this ChatGPT plugin store. But what is that going to look like? Well, it's probably going to look something like what Character AI has been doing, where they have been training different models to mimic, celebrities or notable people, right? Tony Stark, this Tony Stark bot has, if you look up here, 7.7 million messages sent with it. Here, this psychologist has 20 million messages sent to it. The life coach has 300,000. They also have games where you can go through word-based games like this Star Wars role-playing game that's got 2.8 million conversations had with it. And so while right now you might be thinking, hey, what's the ChatGPT plugin that's going to be super valuable to users? Try thinking the opposite direction. What's going to be entertaining to people? What's actually going to get people to come back to ChatGPT and spend the most time in the app? Because I think that is what ChatGPT and OpenAI generally are going to spotlight and really value. If all of these character.AIs are bringing up tens of millions of conversations, that's where I would start focusing, is like, hey, what's the ChatGPT theme that I can start thinking of and build a plugin for that? Because I think that there's going to be a lot of value in building those, because that's going to ultimately be what keeps people interested in this. There's one way to look at the ChatGPT plugin store, and that's, hey, I need to help people be more productive and get more work done. But I think everyone's thinking that way. Every single business is trying to figure out, hey, how do we get a plugin on this app store, whether it's just for marketing or to actually drive more value to our platform. But on the flip side, I think, what about just entertainment in general? If you can keep people addicted to using ChatGPT Plus, then you're going to be way more valuable to OpenAI than, the Lexi Shopper, which just surfaces Amazon products. That's cool and all, but ChatGPT wants people on the platform using their tool. And so the best way to do that is through conversation. So I think that there will emerge ChatGPT themes, if you will, that resemble what Character.ai has been doing. And they're going to bring that natively into the ChatGPT plugin store. And as a reminder, one last time, if you have been using the ChatGPT plugin store at all and you find it hard to find actual productive and valuable or entertaining plugins as it stands right now, hit the link down in the description. I'm going to make it super easy on you to find what the most valuable and useful plugins are right now. Going to be updating that list every single day as new plugins come out. I'm trying them all because, I do want to see what is the plugin that I connect with the most, that actually aids my life the most, but also what's the plugin that entertains me the most. We should be bringing games and fun and entertainment into the ChatGPT platform as well, because AI can do some cool, funny stuff. And so once again, hit the link down in the description. Going to make it easy on you to find what plugins are the best. And so to close it out, it's another exciting time for ChatGPT. We have a plugin store, which means that we're getting third-party experiences and new ways of using the tool. And you should be paying attention to it. Is it going to be the next Apple App Store that, hands out $320 billion to developers over the next 15 years? It's possible. It's certainly possible. Is there actually going to be a way to make money and charge for plugins? I would say not for a little while, not for quite some time probably. I don't think that OpenAI would sacrifice that $20 per month that they're already charging people and then charging them on top of it for plugins. So no, I don't think that it's going to be the App Store that quickly. Ironically, if you were an early iPhone user, you might remember the I Am Rich app, which cost $999, I think. It was like the most expensive app on the App Store back in 08, 09, whenever it came out. And yes, there is an I Am Rich plugin on the ChatGPT App Store, but it doesn't cost $999 because you can't charge for a plugin on the ChatGPT store right now. So it might be some time, it might never happen where you can actually make money selling these plugins. Just the simple fact that there's only 100 plugins now, you should be thinking in the mindset of, hey, what can I bring here? What can I test? Because if we know anything about new platforms, getting in at the ground floor usually pays off big in the long run, especially when there's already 100 million plus users using this platform. So that's all I've got for today. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you're now thinking about, hey, what is this ChatGPT plugin store going to be, and what maybe can I do to provide value or to just have fun experimenting with these plugins. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, maybe subscribe. Every day I'm coming out with a new theory on the future, a new way to think about the future so that you don't feel so overwhelmed by how uncertain these times are and also how scary everyone's making it seem. So trying to bring a little bit of light to this shade, and yeah, until next time, take care.